All right, hi everyone, Chris Petri here. Thanks for coming by. We're going to be having a really fun time painting this oil painting. We're going to kind of show you all the different steps you're going to need to do to accomplish this, and it's really just a matter of going slowly and following along. We're going to do a sketch to create this. We're going to work from our cell phone, so we'll have our mobile phone, our cell phone, on camera at all times up above here. So you'll see this picture at all times, this photograph in the camera at all times. You'll see our palette paper on camera at all times. So you'll see all the colors we're using to mix up our wonderful sky colors and ocean colors and the rocks and the palm trees. So we'll cover everything here. We also will just use our color wheel just to kind of show you the different color combinations you can create when you're painting your oil paintings, so that there's no guesswork with it. You just use your primary colors, your three primary colors, red, yellow, and blue, and then from there you mix everything else from those three colors, and then your painting will always look harmonious, and the colors will always blend perfectly for you, so you really don't have to worry too much about choosing colors. You just mix what you want to as you go, and obviously we're using our photograph here to try to match these colors as close as we can. But again, it's an impressionistic kind of feel. This painting is more of an impressionistic painting. We're not trying to copy the photo really exact. We're just trying to use the photograph to help us to create our own version of what we see. All right, so let's get started in just a second or two, and we'll have a lot of fun. Let's enjoy, and I'll be right back. All right, we just saw the finished painting, and we're going to get right into the video. Let's take a first look here at our subject matter: a beautiful beach, rocks, coastal area, some palm trees, gorgeous waves crashing in the ocean, beautiful white clouds up in the sky, gorgeous day, beautiful blue color to the sky up above here. So we're going to create this in oils. We're going to actually, we'll work with a white canvas. Sometimes we'll prime our canvases, as you know, if you've been following me for a number of months now on this channel where we're doing the oil paintings. You'll notice that I will sometimes prime my canvas right on the spot when we start working. Sometimes I'll prime my canvas maybe a week before or a couple of days before and let it set up, and I do it that way as well sometimes, and sometimes we just work on the white canvas just as it is, dry like this. So I would say practice all the different ways you can, get the feel for all of those different situations with your priming or not priming your canvas, and all it can do is just kind of give you more options when you're starting to work with oils and you're creating oil paintings. And if you get a little feel of everything, then you can kind of just pick and choose what you like to do. So we're just going to basically take a lead pencil, and we'll just go around like this. I taped off my canvas to give myself a picture frame like this, so I made the canvas a little smaller with some artist tape. And then I'm looking at this scene, and I'm pretty much confident it's about a quarter or close to a third of the way up the distant ocean vanishing point there. So we could take that line here and kind of say that's going to be our horizon line for our ocean going across the canvas like this. Another thing we always would want to do, really important, let's always take our light source and make a note of where the light is coming from. So here in this photograph, we can tell the light's coming from this way, coming across the picture this way. We could see the light on the rocks on the left side, and then the shadows are going to the right. So the light's kind of coming from behind and from the left going to the right. So we'll take a Sharpie marker and just make a spotlight. I like to make a spotlight in my border when I tape my border around my painting. This way, if I'm in the middle of the painting and I'm so focused in on colors and all the different things we're working on with our painting, at any given second I can just glance over and see this and go, there's where the light is, and then it's just easy for me to quickly assess where the light's coming from if I'm working on any particular area of the canvas, and I don't have to guess or start to focus on it too much. So we can take this line of the distant ocean, and we can use a ruler to make a straight line. We have some paints over here all ready to go, so we'll put those up there for now. And we could measure up so we can make an even line across, a level line. So this is 1 3/4. So I come over here like this, and 1 3/4 is right there. And then I can just have a level line going across. That's important to have that level line across for the distant ocean. All right, so we have that. That's the key starting point. And we have our hash line there. Then we can kind of start looking at some other features around the outer perimeter of the painting, just to get some quick reference points. Okay, bottom of this large cloud over here on the right, that's a little bit up from the ocean. So we could say about there. And that cloud goes down here into the distance, like that. And then just a little bit down from the top of the rectangle is the top of this cloud. So we just want to make a note of that, like so. Then we have another bit of cloud over here, like that. So, and what I'll do is I'll do it a little bit darker. So again, the key first starting point is that horizon line to start with, where the ocean, the distant ocean, is the level line across the paper. This rectangle is, so I taped my paper at about 6 inches high by about 8 inches wide. So about 8 inches wide, 6 inches high. That's my rectangle. And then again, we said we went 1 1/4 up from the bottom to get our horizon line for our ocean. And then we made sure we measured both sides, 1 1/4, 1 1/4. We drop our ruler on there, we get our nice straight line. Got that. Then we went up a little bit here, maybe about 1 inch for the bottom of this first cloud. And then we kind of just went here and made a little indication of the cloud sort of trailing off into the distance, far distance. And then we made a little bit of some cloud shapes up here where this is, and a little bit of some clouds coming from the top down. And so now we're going to come over here. We'll do this small hill that comes down there. And then we'll do a couple rock features here, as we see this in the photograph. So we're going to do a few rocks, and you can always change a few things if you want. You can make your rock shapes a little different. Maybe I'll put a rock over here in the corner, and we have another rock over here. You can add or delete rocks if you want. So if you want to add more rocks, please do. If you want to make a few less, that's also fine. It's probably easier to delete or not put in as many. It's harder to maybe create rocks that you don't see here because it's hard. We're kind of looking at the rocks here, and we're trying to carefully put them in so that they're matching what we're seeing here. So you can kind of see I'm looking at this photograph, trying to get some clear pencil marks on my canvas so that I have that to work from. And I'm probably going to make less rocks than I see. And then there's some smaller ones over here. We'll remember to do these over here. Some smaller rocks. And then we have some shadow lines here a little bit. And this is the sand. And this is the water here coming in, the waves coming in. So now we have a pretty good sketch. Let's just do one more part here. Let's add the we're going to add the palm trees, and we're going to do these fun, loose. We're not going to be too we're not going to get too so we're sort of going to just keep an eye on the drawing and try to get ourselves, and again, just get some indications on your canvas with your pencil. You don't have to draw it everything perfectly, because really we're going to do that work with the brush. So as long as you sort of see what we have here, you're going to be fine. You just want to get the trunks of the trees in. There's another tree here, a smaller bit of tree here. There's some maybe palm plants down here at the bottom. All right, so we have a good bit of work here that we have. Maybe we'll do one more there. Like that. And that should be fine. All right, so now let's get our paint onto the palette paper, that waxy paper we have. Incidentally, all the art supplies that I use on this channel for oil painting they're below in the comment section. You'll notice that I have everything, all links with labels, so you see each label of each link, so you'll know if you click on a link for paint, you're gonna have the link for the Artisan, Winsor Newton Artisan brand paint, which is water mixable. We clean up our brushes, we mix with water, we clean up our brushes with soap and water. We don't use any mineral spirits or solvents, anything like that, so we use nothing flammable here. We're just basically using the Winsor Newton Artisan water mixable oil color paint with our water bucket. It's very similar to watercolors. If you've ever worked with watercolors, then you kind of have that feel for that. You have your water bucket and you have your paints, and that's all you need. Your paints, your water pail, and your brushes, and then you can work just the same way with this. Works almost similar. It's very similar to watercolor. So let's squeeze out our paints, and we'll just basically we're gonna use the same idea, the color wheel. We're gonna put our paint on our palette, our wax paper palette, the same way we'll mix our paints and put our paints on just like this color wheel. And I have a video, incidentally, if you go, if you just type in Chris Petri color wheel, oil color wheel. I think I have it labeled as oil color wheel because I have watercolor color wheels as well on another channel. So you might see my watercolor channel when you type that in. But if you type in Chris Petri oil color wheel, you'll find the same exact one. This is the one I did on the video. So you'll see that's how we're going to mix our colors, and I keep this across from me. And then we'll just take our paints and we'll just quickly get some colors out and we'll start working. So our red's going to be over here. And then we will work with our yellow next. We'll do a couple yellows. So we'll do some yellow ochre. And you can always add more paint later. If you run out of paint while you're painting, you just add a little more. Okay, so we use a little bit of cadmium lemon yellow and yellow ochre, both yellows. So yeah, that works fine for your color wheel. And then we're going to have blue. And we'll use French ultramarine blue. And we're going to use cerulean blue. And again, you can mix your blues. Add a couple different blues if you want. Gives you a little more variety of color. You could also add some cadmium red to this too as well if you wanted to the alizarin crimson. So yeah, let's do that. Let's add a little cadmium red. Okay, so we'll keep our paints close by. We'll also put a little bit of burnt umber up top here. This way we can darken some of the colors if we want to make something a little darker. And we'll also add some white. So I have a large tube of white because some paintings we use a lot of white. But I'll just put a little bit of white on the palette too, like this. And our goal is just really, we're just going to have fun with this. Have fun with your paintings. Don't stress over them. You're just going to always continually paint paintings, and just your practice becomes your finished paintings, really. So all artists just keep practicing. So basically, if you can imagine, when you're creating paintings and doing sketching with your pencils and then creating your paintings in oil, it's just a matter of you just keep working at it and keep going. And each time you do a painting, you get a little better. You make some more. You differentiate different things when you're working on your oils. When you're painting, you'll learn something new. One painting, then the next painting, you learn another couple things, and then it just keeps on adding and exponentially growing. So that your knowledge, by just painting and working with these videos, you'll just get better and better and better over time. And you just take your time with it, and you don't pressure yourself and say you have to be painting great paintings in 2 weeks after watching these videos. No, you just keep working and working at it, and you'll just constantly get better each time, a little bit by little, and you'll see the results as you go. So never worry about that. So the first thing we'll do is we'll just start mixing out some of our paint. I always have a paper towel with me like this in my left hand. If you're right-handed, you'll have your brush in your left hand and you'll have your paper towel in your right hand. And you just, rinse off your brush, dry off a little bit of the water, and then you get your colors and you work in that fashion, and you'll have no problem. So the first thing we'll do is we'll just mix up we have our primaries, and again, now we'll mix up our secondary colors. So we'll take this color wheel and just start to mix out a little bit so that we kind of prepare for our painting. So we'll take our red and yellow together and we'll make an orange, and then we'll take our yellow and blue together and we'll make a green, and we'll take our red and our blue together and we'll make a violet, and that'll be our secondary colors. So we'll have our primaries, red, yellow, blue. We'll mix our secondaries right on here, orange, green, and violet, and then we'll mix up our tertiary colors, which are the mixtures of all of these together as we go. This way we have plenty of color to choose from as we work, and sometimes you can even, if you have certain colors in your painting that you're going to use a lot of, you'll mix more of that on your palette paper. But you get used to that after a while. You'll eventually you'll get used to that. Eventually you can look at your painting and say, I know I'm going to use a lot of blue here and green. Blue in the sky, lots of blue in the ocean, green and blues here, and golds, so a little bit of gold in these trees, and then on the beach here a little bit of red and gold for the sand, and a little bit of white obviously for the clouds and the and the waves coming in. So let's kind of start out. Now we'll mix up first some orange. Alright, so we have some orange here. Now rinse off the brush, dry off a little bit of the paint and the water. And we're going to make our green. Let's take our yellow, which is our lighter color. Like that. A little bit of each of the yellow, and then we add a little of each of the blue. Okay, there we have our green. Then we rinse off our brush again with a water pail. I have this rubberized water pail. It's nice and quiet when I make my videos here, so we're not making a lot of noise. And then we're going to go with our violet next. So our violet's going to be red and blue. A little more blue. And that's good. Okay, then we'll mix up some tertiary colors. We'll start out with maybe some red-orange. So we'll take some red. And then some of the orange that we made here. And that gives us a red-orange. Then we go with a yellow-orange. So we'll take a little bit of this here and make a little bit of yellow with that. Mix that in. And we have a yellow-orange. Then we'll make a yellow-green. So we'll take some of our green, dry off my brush, rinse it off first. Green, and then yellow-green. Add a little more yellow to that. And that's our yellow-green. Just so we have some variety of colors to start looking at. We're not looking to mix up a ton of paints, just let's get an idea of the color wheel and how we're mixing our colors. And then here we're going to go with blue-green. So we're going to take blue first, here, and then some of that green. And that's our blue-green. And then our blue-violet. So we'll take some blue here, and then some of that violet. If you need to make some more violet, no problem. Okay, blue-violet. A little more blue in there. Okay, and then red violet. So then we take some again, the violet, and we add red to it. Just a little more red, so we push it toward the red side. Red violet, there we go. So there we have it. We have all the colors of the color wheel right here. And this is our starting point. Now we just take a look at our painting as we go, and we just look to see what we're going to need to use. And then what I'll do is I'll empty my water bucket, because you can see how muddy that water is now. Because if you mix up your paints on your palette and mix out your color wheel, just like we did, primaries, secondaries, and tertiary colors, then you have a lot of muddy water here. So you just empty out that water, start with fresh water. When we start the painting, and let's start out with our darks first. So let's start working on the rocks and the trees, the palm trees on the left and the rocks. So I am going to go into some brown. And I can mix that in with some of the greens. And then some blue and yellow. And we're just going to get in some of these palm trees. And I'm not going to get too fancy. I'm just going to kind of get an indication of the color here first. And then we will get some more color on here. Some more greens. And what we'll do is we'll actually use a smaller brush. I have a smaller, fine pointed brush. We'll use that to get some more details. So I'll put that over here to my left for now. I just want to get some of these, just some darks in here to start with, and some green. We want some green color, yellows and blues. Okay, that's all we wanted to do there. And then I'll rinse off my brush good, take my paper towel, dry off the water and paint. Then we're going to start getting our rocks in. Our rocks again, we'll use some brown, some French ultramarine blue, some red, and we'll make these a mixture of kind of a warm bluish dark blue with the burnt umber, and a little bit of warm too with some of the red. And even some gold in there too. Let's mix some gold in there. So you can take any colors here that you have in your palette. You can use any of these colors in any combination to create your darks and your lights, your rocks, your water, your sky colors. It all is going to work from this right here, these colors. And that's as simple as that. So then we'll start to pick up some darks. And this brush is a little bit, I think we could use a smaller brush. And I think I have to think about maybe getting some synthetic brushes, because these are, I've had these for a number of years and I think they're starting to wear out a little bit and they're very frayed looking. So that's probably, I'll have to get some new brushes for this oil painting. So, and then I just carefully put my darks in. I'll leave a little bit of white paper for some light. That's going to be, the light's coming from here again, so the rocks will have some light on the left side. And we're getting our rock shapes in. And a little bit of golden color there. And again, you can add some lighter bits of color. The main thing is you want to go kind of thin. We always say with oils that start thin, so your first layers of paint are like thinner. So you go on like pretty thin as you can go, and then you put on thicker paint as we go through the painting. So if you want to add more colors to your rocks, they might be a little bit thicker if you want to go over top of those darks. And then I'll add that golden color, the yellow ochre, for the left side of the rocks. That's a little bit of the light shining on the rocks, a little bit of that golden color. Yeah, rinse the brush off again, dry it off on the paper towel, and pick up some of that, kind of that golden yellow ochre color. And there's some yellow over here too. The sun's coming up across the trees, the palm trees over here, so there's some of that golden color over here. A little bit of red even too. That warm, sunny feeling. Reds and yellows. A little bit of reds too on the rocks. And that's pretty good. I think we have the darks looking good. We have to do a little bit of work on this hill here. And maybe a little more blue there, a little darker over here. And there's another rock over here too, so I will get these few rocks over here too as well. Okay. Okay, I'm going to go with a larger brush now, but what I'll do now is just take a quick break. It's always good to take breaks. Everyone's different. You might need to take a break every 10-15 minutes, or you might like to work a half an hour or even an hour and then take a break. So you take breaks at your own, you're the artist, take your breaks at your own time, at your own intervals. But I'm going to take a quick break now. When I come back, I'm going to get a larger brush and we'll start mixing some sky colors and water colors. So I think we'll do the water first and the beach first, the beach sand, the ocean, some of the crashing waves coming in, and then we'll finish up with the sky. All right. Alright, so we will get a larger brush. This will be a number 6 filbert brush, and what I'll do is I'll start mixing on the outer perimeter here for the sky and the ocean colors. So what I'll do is I'll pick up some of this green that we mixed before. I'll put that down here like so. And again, if you need a little more colors, if you need to squeeze out some more colors, please do. I'll put out some more yellow ochre and cadmium yellow lemon. And I think let's use a little more French ultramarine blue. And I'll use a little bit of white in that green. A little bit of that yellow and blue. That looks pretty good. I think that green looks pretty close to what I'm seeing in the picture here. So in this distant ocean here, we're going to put that green in. Then we're going to start to work in a little more blue. And I'm basically just going right around the rocks and trying to get the color on here. Like that. And again, I'll have my paper towel. Rinse off my brush. Dry off a little bit of the water and paint. Then I'll start blending in some sand color here. Mix in a little bit of that to the yellow ochre. And even a little bit of the alizarin crimson over here. So we have a little bit of a warm sand kind of feel here. And we'll start blending that in over here. And we'll keep it kind of light. We'll blend it in there. And then we'll take some white, lighten it up a little bit. And then that kind of gives us that sand feel. And we'll mix in a little bit of the green in there. And we can go back in and add white later if we want to lighten things up where the sand is. There's going to be some shadows on these rocks. There's going to be some blue also too in this sand, picking up the sky colors. Okay, a little bit of purple for our shadows here, with a little bit of blue and a little bit of yellow ochre. So I'll mix that shadow color, make it a little bit less. Violet is, well, beautiful color, So that's why we mix that into our shadows. That's gonna look great. And there might be some shadows too here in the ocean area. Okay. Okay. Here we go. All right, so we have our color mixes looking good, and we're going to start to work our sky colors in. So that's going to be cerulean blue for our sky color. And what we'll do is we'll make that sky color like this. Like so. A little bit of French ultramarine blue in there as well. A little bit of the warm golden color there along the where it meets the little bit of violet maybe too. Then we're going to go with some clouds. So we'll take some of this little bit of white and then some blue and green. Okay, that's going to be some clouds. A little bit of violet, a little bit of blue, good. And then we'll get some more blue, French ultramarine as well. And I'm trying to just use my palette nice beautiful blue summer sky. And you can make your brush strokes, you can cross hatch if you want. Scrub around. And we're just going to blend these in. And we'll add some white. Don't forget, we're going to add white to recreate our clouds. In watercolor, if you're familiar with watercolor, you'll leave white paper sometimes in watercolor to for your white clouds. But in oil paintings, we cover the whole canvas with our paint, so we don't leave any white canvas. Okay. There we go. This is going to be a loose, fun painting, an impressionistic painting. We're not looking to recreate the photograph. We're using the photograph to help us to create the painting. And we can reference it, but we want to have our own touch to it, our own feel to it, an impressionistic kind of feeling to it. The colors. Okay. And then I think we can go with some white, mixed in with some of the gold. And then we can start getting some of the clouds. Here you can start going a little thicker. Add some white and gold. And then have some cool too. Have a cool white. That would be over here. We'll make a cool white with some blue. So you have a warm and cool white working to your advantage. And you just make the cloud shapes the way you want them to be. It's your painting. can dab with your brush. You can use your brush any way you want. You can dab with it. You can do cross hatching, dabbing. You can do all strokes, maybe just, you know, parallel strokes like this. And then maybe you want to add a little bit of white and blue to your sky over here. Maybe it's too green. You can add some blue back to this. Then you can blend in your colors. And we can make some waves crashing in with some yellow, some gold. So white paint, use your white, straight white, and add a little bit of that yellow ochre to it. And then you can start to make some waves coming in. Some of the white caps. And there's some more white caps out here. You can take your brush, press it down really good in the white and the yellow ochre, so you have you make a nice sharp point to your brush, and that'll give you. And if you want those waves to feel like they're coming into the shore, you just want to move the paint the same way. Like that. If you want to lighten a spot or two and blend, you do that. You blend in some things. Then I'll get my finer brush to work around and finish up over here with the you can finish up some of the details with a fine brush. You can maybe take some blue, add some darker shadows too. Underneath some of the waves, you might find some darker shadows under the waves. Like that. And then here in the sky, I rinse off my brush, dry it on a paper towel, and then I pick up some of that golden yellow again. And let's fill in, or let's, paint behind these trees here. And that's all. We just kind of work the paint. And then we will do some final touches to the palm trees too. You could also add a little bit of lights to the rocks. A little bit of that golden color for the light. Okay, and then what we'll do is we'll mix up some green, French ultramarine blue, a little bit of that cerulean blue, yellow, and roll our brush around so we have a good point, and then we just start doing a couple. And if you want to gray that down a little bit, add a little bit of red to that. Bring the intensity of that green down with a little bit of red. And we can kind of get our Again, I twirl this brush around to get a good point with the paint on there. And then I just try to get those shapes of the palm trees. Like that, and then there's a few more palm trees over here. And again, I'm just kind of flowing those brush strokes the same way that I see the palms, kind of like a circular fashion there. And there's a little bit of the trunk of the palm trees here too. We want to get a few of those in. As you can see, this is really coming along nicely, and I think we could just add a few more rocks over here. We did have some more rocks over here, so we could add some few details like that. Like that. Maybe a couple of little spots, maybe some sand. All right, I think we'll call that complete. I'm hoping you had some fun. I'm hoping you'll subscribe if you haven't already to my channel so you can keep following along with us here as we go. I will create a lot of beautiful paintings just like this. Shore paintings, coastal areas, beach scenes. We're going to also continue working on landscapes, cityscapes, flower paintings. So we're going to pretty much do all the things you like to do for painting in oils. And I'll just move this out of the way for a second, and what we'll do is we'll just kind of key in on the painting just for a second here. We'll just lift up the tape and kind of see how it looks once we sort of have the border around it, a nice crisp border. And I use artist tape just to go around my canvas. Okay, so we'll see you soon. Great to work with you, and before you know it, we'll be creating another oil painting very soon. Bye-bye.